Yeah, that was a major flop, wasn't it? If you guys even saw that, I deleted it. So if anyone was watching, whatever. Starting again, we're going to do the twisted cording. This is where all of the ends of the multiples go. And on this one, if I can get it down to C, this one is where everyone rests there. And now I'm going to try to put you, left you on. Yes, I know I can't rotate while I'm doing this. Yes, and all the dogs and Miguel are coming downstairs as I'm trying to also put this on here. That's okay. You don't know that. I mean, life is weird, especially in our household. Okay, so you can hopefully see this twisted cording. I'm going to make it so you can see it, hopefully. What you do, so you have to bend down to get in here, is the way I'm teaching you, and I'm going to show you how to do just one strand of 6-ply cotton thread, is you go around your piece, like if this, say my phone is your piece. Hi Maria. I'm doing this where little short people should be doing it. If you guys have done twisted cording before, most of the time people will tell you that you need to go around the piece 3 times. The way I'm teaching you, you only need to do it 1.5. Sometimes I do 2 because I always think more is better. So what I mean by going around your piece, say this is your stitched piece, which is my other fin. You start at one edge, if it's circular, whatever, you start one place, go all the way around it, and that's, we'll just pretend I went all the way around it. This right here is 1 time around. Now, if you want a hanger or anything else like that, this is only 1 time around. So you're going to add your loop for your hanger. So this will be your original length. Then, depending on how many you need of this, is how many you would count up. Like if you needed 3 or 4, you would cut 3 or 4. Well, this is 1 time around, so you would double this and add half of that, so 1.5 for the way that I'm showing you how to do this. And this is slowly going down. This is going to be one of those ones where it's like, this is one of the world's funniest videos. So anyway, so you take your 1 time around, double it, and then add half to it. So you would have 1.5 times around, and this will be your length that you cut everything from, if that makes sense. So then the other thing you do is this is the one length around, so you're going to take the ends, this is the length you need, and you're going to tie a knot in the end. So this is what you're going to twist. I like to put the end that I've knotted on the one hook that everything rests on. So that's on there, and I'm not moving this thing anymore because I'm not going to make you sick and do it. I'll move the chair so you can see that I'm going to take the spinner. This is called a spinner. And you don't drop the thread. And you put your cup hook on your thread and you start twisting. And you always start off twisting clockwise, because how this is all going to work is remembering how you twist. So you start off clockwise and you twist until, if you have an older spinner, sometimes it'll make noise and it'll start skipping the little gears. But if it starts folding up on itself and not looking even, that's when you know you need to back it up too. Like right here, I have a little bump. I know it's hard to see, and I'm not going to move the camera, but I need to back this up so it's all smooth. It's all one smoothness. There's no bumps. So then what you do, and this is the scary bit, and I've dropped them before, even when I'm teaching classes, you hold on to this, you've taken the cup hook out, and you have a loop here. You put your spinner on there, you take the loop, and you put it over the cup hook that's on the one that only has the one cup hook. Now, some people will teach you that you grab the ends, and at this point you would drop this and let the spinner twist it up, but I'm going to show you where you go counterclockwise back, and you can't over twist this. You're not going to get, I mean, it will spring itself back. you can under twist, but you definitely can't over twist because it'll spring back like memory the way it should be. You take it off and let it untwist till it gets and relaxes where it should be. All right, now see, here's the magic. That is not splaying open. If you twisted it and dropped it and let the spinner, let it twist on itself, if you took this off, this thing would start splaying everywhere. You only tie a knot on it just because you're moving it around and you don't want it to come undone. So this would be a great size for smalls, tying off things, going around a tiny thing, because this was only one strand of cotton thread, of 6-ply cotton thread. So this is really small. So what you do, there's some rules. I'll try to go through some of them and try to remember, but not all of them. We'll probably do this again where you're not quite so collywog, and we'll do something more specific. But this is just basics in showing you how to use this. That's my son coming back in. I just looked at him. So you, what you'll do is if you can take, like, if you needed 3 or 4 of these and you just slightly twist them and you put them beside the edge of your piece, you see if that's how thick it is to cover what you need or if it's large enough for your tie. So let me show you how to, bye sweetie, have a great day. Let me show you how to twist 2 colors together. So we're basically gonna start off like we did. Let me make sure that what you do is you cut threads that are the same size. They have to be the same length. Sometimes when you're using threads that are different types of threads, one will not twist is the same as the other, and what you can do is you can tie them off and make them work. Just that's why sometimes especially if you're using thread threads or whatever you're using that it's not the same texture, you give yourself some extra room in case you need to make some adjustments. So I'm going to tie a knot in the end of this, so we've got a loop. And then I have another piece. Hi, Brigitte. So we're tying a knot in the end of this second piece, and then we're going to twist one, and then we're going to rest it. So I'm putting the ends that are tied on the 1-cup hook, and then I'm going to twist. And again, we're starting off twisting clockwise. We're going to get this as tight as it can, and like I told you before, you'll either hear the gears, like right now I can see that it's bubbling again, like where it bubbled on the other one. So I'm going to back it up, and this whole time you're doing this, you want to have it. Hi Elizabeth, hi sweetie. So once you get it to tight the length you want, this is why you always need to put the board that has the multiple cup hooks on it on something that can move, because you need to, this needs to be stationary, the one with the 1-cup hook, and you need to be able to move the one with the multiple. So this is called, I call it resting. I don't know if there's a technical term, but this is what I call resting. I am resting this, and this is what's going to start measuring everything else. We measured and cut everything so it fits right. So now we're going to twist it, and this one I'm going to twist. It's a green thread. I have to twist this one so it's the same length as the white one. Now, like I said, if you have different types of threads that aren't the same texture, one may twist tighter than the other, and if it's not the same length, you would tie them off and make them the same length. You would take the longer one and make it shorter. But these are 2 cotton. They're not the same manufacturer, but they should twist about the same. So we're going to use the measurements on this other piece to keep twisting till we reach that length. Don't force it and make it have bumps in it just to make it work, because you can just tie it off. And again, that's why I said you need to have some extra for any type of flub ups. So I am at the same length. Now, if I were going to do, hi Bonnie. If I were going to do more than this, I would rest this one, but since I'm not going to, I'm only going to do the 2 to show you just a candy cane effect with 2. The scary bit is you hold this one and you turn your cup hook up. You move your chair or whatever you have your cording on forward a little bit to be able to get it off the cup hook. Hopefully not let go. Trust me, I've done it. And now you have the 2 threads on your twister and they're the same length. Now, remember we started this, we did clockwise. So now to twist these 2 together, just like I did when I twisted the other one on top of itself, we're going to go counterclockwise. And you're gonna hold it tight, and we're gonna go backwards and we're gonna twist. And again, you can't over twist this because it will spring to where it needs to be. This looks pretty tight. And I said before, you can under twist this and it'll be too loose. So this one looks pretty tight. I'm gonna take it off. As you can see, it's going to swirl all around and it's now gotten to where it should be. So this one, I don't know why the end didn't twist up the way it should, so we're just going to tie a knot in that. But as you can see, this is not coming apart like it would be if I had dropped it. We're going to tie a knot in this end. And it might be because I was holding it differently when I was twisting it. Instead of being back, you should be straight back, and you should keep firm tension on your cords or your threads so that it will come out nice. And I'm not sure if you guys can see this, but this is, all right, let's find the camera bit. This is like a candy cane effect. This is a green and a white twisted up on itself. But see how professional that looks? Like if you try this and do it where you don't twist it on yourself and you take it and you put your spinner on it, pretend like these had been twisted, and you let your spinner spin it out. When you take this off, your thread is just gonna pop open. And if you look at it, if you put the 2 side by side, you'll see when you do that type of method, when you use your spinner to let it twist it up, it's not as evenly twisted as this. This looks like it's been manufactured. It's really nice. So that's 2. So I'm gonna quickly show you how to do it with threads that aren't the same. So I have measured these and I've tied them all off. Except the one I left. No, I think they're all tied off. Okay. I lied. Let me tie this one off real quick. We're going, and this one, I have 2 of the cotton threads, two strands of 6-ply, or 2-ply of 6-strand cotton thread. So we're gonna take that and put the knot on this end. Sorry, I put it on the other end. Actually, we're gonna do the loop on this one. And sometimes you may wanna do the loop like that because it comes out nice and tight at that end, and you can use it with the finishing process to put something through it. So I'm making sure that this is all tied correctly. I'm gonna tie it one more time because it seems like the pieces were not quite the length they should be. So I'm just gonna make sure we have a nice knot on here so it's not gonna come open, so I don't have any more snafus. So we've got this, we've got it tight. We're going to go clockwise. And you can see that big end that I should cut off, but I'm being lazy and not. That, we've got it to where it's, see, you heard that. If you were listening, the gears gave a little bit. I'm gonna let it open some so I can get it over the cup hook. Make sure that they're all on there and it's not gonna come out. There's a little bubble here, so I'm gonna play with that because I know that this was even. The reason it bubbled and tried to turn up on itself is I let it get slack because I was thinking of cutting this end off. You just need, you can usually see, but it's a good thing to run your hand on it when you're doing these, and especially if you haven't done them a whole lot. It's just nice to run your hand on there and make sure there aren't any little bubbles. All right, the next thing I'm using, because I wanted to show you guys how some things may or may not twist out the same. This is a rayon ribbon. I'm gonna tie another knot in this because this stuff is slippery stuff. This is a needlepoint thread. You can use it when you're stitching in counted work, but it's mostly used in needlepoint. And this stuff, it's wonderful, gives you a great sheen, but stitching with it is a bear. See, I didn't say a nasty word, I said a semi-nasty word. Oh, thanks, Timothy. So, I didn't even see you slip in. So again, we're doing clockwise. And we're twisting it. I'm trying to get it the same length. I'm about the same length. And you noticed I didn't twist that one. It didn't seem like I twisted it as much as the cotton. And I'm moving the chair up a little bit, the arm, so this can go around the cup hook. And maybe I'll do this where someone can move up, see, and I let the tension on the cotton go again. That one same place tried to bubble up again, and I'm just taking my hand and maneuvering it and getting rid of the bubble. So we've got that ribbon done. Now I'm gonna do some chenille. Now this is a thicker chenille. It's already got the end tied off. This one will probably not twist up to be as short as these, so I will have to show you how I'll just have to like probably tie it off and cut that tail off. Just like I cut the tail on this, but if this doesn't twist up the way as short as it should be, or the length, then I'll just tie a knot where it should be and I will cut off the extra. And again, I'm repeating myself if people are coming back in, and just to remind you that it's nice to add a little extra of the thread, because then if you need to cut something or you have a flub up, you don't have to remake your cording. Now another rule of thumb is you usually use the same type of thread that you finish with as what you, this one's twisting up nicely. It's twisting up the same length. Now, if I were gonna add more, I'll finish that other comment in a minute. If I were gonna add more, I would rest this one, but I'm not going to add any more. So I'm just going to move this in just a little bit. Try to keep the tension straight. This is always the scary bit. And open the end of this while you're holding on to it. And get this over the cup hook, which is hard because that chenille is pretty thick. And the cup hook is pretty small. So hopefully I'm not going to drop anything in front of you and show how you're not supposed to do it. Now see, the chenille had a little bubble. I got rid of it. Now we're going to take this unreal cotton thread that's still trying to get a bubble in that one spot, open the end, and put it over the cup hook. Let's see, there it goes. All right, so now I have 3. And what I was gonna tell you is usually, see, you're not taking my boobs. Usually what you do is you get the threads that are the same as what you stitched on your piece. So if you're stitching on needlepoint and you use pearl, you would use the size pearl cotton that you stitched with. It's just sort of a rule of thumb, and it makes it look better. It's just sort of, I mean, you can use a smaller thread than what you stitched on, but it would look really weird if you had a large pearl cotton or use something larger on the edge of a very petite linen piece or something like that. So you can get the feel of it, or you just know you want it to be funky, you usually try to go with threads that you would use that you've stitched on your piece. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this where it's triple, and hi Beth. Trying to wave at you. Now I told you I was going to show you how to twist and retwist. We're going to do that in another one because I need to cut things out and lay them out, and I ran out of time this afternoon, so I may do that this evening because I had a lot more people, you know, watching. And I don't know if anyone watched just a few minutes ago where I dropped, hey sweetie, I dropped everything all over the floor because this is a hard thing to do because I want you to see both of these, and I tried to show you what it looked like. So I'm going to try to do this when someone can be holding move the camera for me while I'm doing it. We'll see. Miguel might grumble on that one. I might have to go hire someone in my neighborhood. But anyway, as you remember, we twisted this and it was twisted. The first twist was clockwise. So now we're going to go counterclockwise. And see, that when the gears were telling me stop, I don't want to go anymore. It usually doesn't do it on that, but I think because we have this chenille and it is so thick, it decided to do that. But as you see, it sprung out to, I don't know why the end didn't work right like that, because it usually doesn't. Maybe it's just because I'm trying to talk to you guys and stopping when I'm doing it. But I tied a knot in that. It's going to stay together. As you can see, this end is not coming apart. And these aren't tied together yet. So this is what happens when you twist and retwist and twist it back on itself. So again, we've got this really cool looking cording. And it's, you know, the chenille's popping out between the cotton threads. And this would just be really nice on a small little tiny pillow. It would be great if you upped the chenille size and maybe you could use the cotton thread or use a pearl cotton. It's just a really cool thing to do. But then what I'll do is show you later, not today probably, we'll see. I'll make an announcement, say maybe, but we'll do a twist and retwist. Oh, thank you, sweetie. I'm glad watching my boobs and looking at me on an odd way worked. But anyway, this is just like doing candy cane, and you can just keep doing this and adding more to it. Right now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cup hooks on here. You could probably rest more than one color on there, but really what I'm gonna show you, because I'm teasing you to come back, the twisting on retwisting or zinging it, you get a much better look, and it looks like cording on top of cording, and it looks like braiding. So I'm teasing you with that, and I'll cut that all up and do that. But this one I'm going to end now. I've shown you how to do cording with different types of thread. We didn't have to cut this up. I'm going to have to figure out why this ending didn't work right, because it always does for me. So maybe it's my bad luck day. Who knows? I did one strand and twisted it on itself. We did 2 for a candy cane effect, and then we did multiple threads, and we did 3. So you would have what 3 would look like twisted up on itself. Now, the thing that you shouldn't do, because it will turn muddy. Some people think it'll turn into a candy cane. Unless you want that look, you don't want to take 2 threads. Let me move this out of the way since we don't need it right now. You don't want 2 threads that are different colors that you put together, like you would want to have it where it's two ply of cotton threads. You're not going to want to have one color and one another color, because all that's going to do is turn muddy. It is not going to look like candy cane, trust me. The other thing you don't want to do, unless you really are dead set on it, is you don't like to use an overpriced, well, it's really not an expensive thread for your cording. You don't want to use silk for your cording. Find a cotton or something that's similar to it. You can if you want, if you're doing little ties on things, but you don't want to go through the expense of using an expensive thread to make your cording. You also don't want to use a over dye, because a lot of them are already cut. You can't use pre-cut. You have to have a continuous thread so you can get the length you need. And you don't want to use something that is multicolored, because it can muddy up your piece. I mean, you can play with it and see. I've twisted with raffia. I've used plastic that's in strips and twisted on it to do some funky things, and made these things where we couched them down and it was hair for a witch. So there's a lot of things, as long as it's you can have it in strips and it can bear the stress. You can twist it. Just go wild and play with it. And when I show you zinging, you know, what I call zinging and twisting and retwisting and making it look like braid, it just opens the possibilities. And you can also get it thicker, and it looks like some of that stuff you get from the warehouses. It can, you know, if you're gonna need yards and yards of this, it's cheaper to go find something that's already done. But if you wanna do something custom that's just for a pillow, you can do this. And when you use this type of system, because I don't know how many of you have ever made your own cording, but when you try to do your twisted cording, and if you're not going to do, what is it called? I forgot what it's called when you do a binded edge on like a stocking or whatever. Unless you're not do that and you're going to do twisted cording around a huge stocking, if you've heard the horror stories of people that used to do finishing, you'd have to find like a 2-story atrium and drop your thing and let your spinner spin it around, and you got to make sure it does this and that, and you have to have all these people help you. With this system, you don't. You can do it all yourself. Even when you have to do a long piece, if you hook your spinner on it and you walk it over to twist it out back on itself, if you have to twist it on itself, you can. Or you can pick the length you want and twist them all together, twist them and rest them and then twist them backwards, and you've got some pretty cool twisted cording. A thing you can do also is if you want to use the same color but you don't want it to look like normal twisted cording like this looks like you don't want it to be even, you want to get an uneven feel with it, but you want to use the same thread and the same color, what you can do is twist, like have one that's got one strand of the thread and twist it, and then go 2 or 3 up and do several twists of the thread where it's different strands or plies of it, multiple plies. Another rule that you usually do, which I haven't seen a huge difference, I'm not sure why the rule is, I guess it's to make it even. They always tell you to do multiples of 2 when you're adding on to do your cording around your piece. I find with like linen work, 4 gets pretty big if you're using cotton thread. When you're doing needlepoint, 6 and 8 is a fairly good, that's using like a pearl cotton, that's a pretty good 6 strands or 8 strands when they're twisted upon itself, do pretty good with filling in the seam, the dip in, where they meet, the ditch, where the 2 pieces meet. Trying to think if there's anything else that I can throw at you for just doing this one. I think that's about it for right now. Again, I'll show you some more, but this was just the basics of doing it. And then if you're interested in getting these, they're on my Etsy. Yes, this has to be an infomercial too. It comes with the spinner and the 2 blocks. I tried to get it where I could get these, buy these and resell them, but I can't get them at a price point. So you would get these from, add these in, and they come in sets. They're like, they used to be $18 to $20 for a set of them. These are the tiny ones. There's a group there's one that's above it. I find around here, Home Depot tends to have the smaller ones more than Lowe's, but both places are great. I haven't been to Ace in a while. I know they probably have these, but these are, just need 2 sets of these and add them to your board, the blocks that have the cup hook in it. And yes, you would need a mirror to read that, but doodling around, I'm not sure what they call themselves now. They've changed their name a couple times, but they make these for me, and they get my name on there and laser it in. But I'll show you what the other one looks like too. And they've put a ruler on this so that you don't have, if you needed a ruler, you could use it. It only goes up to 6, but you still have a ruler that's there. I don't necessarily use a ruler as much as I use my piece that I'm working on, and I used my phone earlier, but we'll just use the block because I had shown, and it wasn't really that, it was hard to show, but let's pull this and do it. We'll use this so you can see it better. You would start at one place and go all the way around, and this is your one length that you would start with, because the way I'm showing you, you only need 1.5. If you're doing it the other way where you're dropping your twister, you need 3 times around. So this is 1 time around, but if I was going to use this as for an ornament, you need to put the loop in there for the ornament. Then I always add just a smidgen more, because like I said, if you have a flub up, you want a little more so you can cut it off. So this would be your original length. You would cut this. Some people like to double this all up and do things, like take it and say, oh, I've got this and that's my one length. I just like separate strands. I think it works better and it gets less muddled. So this would be one time around. So and the way I teach you, you need 2.5 times around, or actually 1.5 would work, but I always go for 2 or a little more, because like I told you guys, more is better. I'm just from that type. 1 can of mayonnaise or bottle of mayonnaise, I want 50, we're fine. So I would double this, and that would probably be enough, or I'd double it and add half of that on there, and then that would be the whole length that I would need, and I would clip it, and then that would be my measuring for every single piece that you do. Now, I make this mistake all the time. I forget, like I'll cut one color and I'm zoning out and I'll start tying the knot in it. Oops, no, because then you'll have to use the piece that's looped and tied off to cut your next set of threads. And even though you try to add in for the knot, that's where it can get a little sticky wicky about the knot being the same length, and that can cause just a little bit of problems when you're twisting it and putting it together. But as long as you don't have a huge gap there, it's fine. And like I said, if you have multiples, you have different threads that aren't the same, you want to add a little more, just so it will, like if it doesn't meet or whatever, you can tie the knot off so it's all even and cut your extra. That's it. I am letting you guys go, but again, look for an announcement for the twisted cord on top of itself, and I'm off to handle a couple other things. Thanks for joining me. Bye.